But unreported crime on board has become such a problem aboard cruise ships.
Safety was the furthest thing from our mind because we thought there was security.
An all-American girl vanishes from a Caribbean cruise liner.
Somebody saw her, somebody wanted her, and somebody took her.
He raped me.
Her parents' search for answers leads them into unimaginable territory.
It was just horrible.
It wasn't the Amy that I know.
When you're on the ship, you don't think about that. You think you're safe.
And a trail of witnesses uncover the unthinkable.
That's the girl I saw in Barbados.
I'm 100% sure right now, as I'm speaking, that she's alive.
Somebody knows what happened. One way or the other, somebody knows.
On October 20th, 2004, I was sexually assaulted in a ladies' restroom by a drunken passenger while another passenger took pictures and 2 Royal Caribbean employees watched and did nothing. I reported my crime. I reported it to the FBI. Royal Caribbean harassed me, continued to harass me, make false statements about me and about my situation in the media. And quite frankly, they've done everything possible to make me go away. When you have Royal Caribbean, or any cruise line for that matter, in charge of security, it's like having the fox watch the hen house. I believe that if I don't stand up and voice what happened to me, as well as what has happened to other passengers, including a 12-year-old girl who was raped aboard a cruise, a 15-year-old girl who was raped aboard a cruise.
A cruise line and now facing a record-setting fine for deliberately dirtying the water. This stems from a cruise line employee being caught on camera dumping waste off the coast of the United Kingdom.
They are enormous floating resorts, and every year millions of travellers ride the high seas, basking in the sun and fun. But some cruise ship passengers embark on a vacation never to return, mysteriously disappearing at sea.
Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's back with another anti-capitalism deep dive video, anti-capitalism true crime video. Today I'm going to be doing the pure evil files of the cruise ship industry files. Deep dive, capitalism, pollution, environmentalism, wage theft, human trafficking, etc. So let's get started into this YouTube deep dive video topic. The cruise line ship industry is a significant and growing contributor to the economy, providing more than $32 billion in benefits annually and generating more than 330,000 U.S. jobs. More than 53,000 commercial vessel tankers, bulk carriers, container ships, barges, and passenger ships travel the ocean and other waters of the world, carrying cargo and passengers for commerce, transport, and recreation. Cruise ships have revolutionized the way people travel since they first arose in popularity in the 1990s. Travelers can eat, drink, shop, swim, and enjoy entertainment while voyaging the seas. According to the Florida Caribbean Cruise Association, 24.2 million travelers went on a cruise in 2016 alone. Although cruise ships represent a small fraction of the entire shipping industry worldwide, public attention to their impacts have come under fire recently. Working on a cruise ship may sound like a fun opportunity for those who like to travel, but the harsh reality and the cold-blooded reality of many cruise ship jobs is far less glamorous. 2 lawyers who represent cruise line workers and passengers told Business Insider in 2018 they often signed to 6 or 8 month contracts. Cruise ship employees can work 7 days a week for a minimum of 12 hours per day. They're overworked and they're underpaid, treated like a capitalism wage slave. Those who have the most physically demanding jobs, like the waiters and cleaners, who tend to receive inadequate medical care when they first report an injury. Often they'll be given pain medication and sent back to work, even if their injury requires more serious attention. And some employees are fearful of even reporting pain or complaining about their working conditions in any way. Cruise lines can get away with treating their lowest paid workers poorly because they recruit them from countries with limited economic opportunities, so the opportunity to make good money presents itself for their family is tremendous. Thus, they're willing to suffer through difficult capitalism labor conditions and being mistreated like a capitalism wage slave. The Caribbean, the Philippines, and Eastern Europe are major sources of employment on cruise ships, and only about 5% of the cruise ship employees are American citizens or residents. Cruise lines often have a practice known as flying a flag of convenience, which involves registering their businesses and ships in countries like the Bahamas, Panama, and Bermuda with relatively lax labor laws. Cruise lines also include clauses in employee contracts that require them to use arbitration to resolve any conflicts, restricting their employees' ability to sue them. A case of wage theft in the cruise industry amounting to a staggering $2 million Australian dollars aboard the luxury cruise ship MS Claudian Sky. Australian Pacific Tourism makes tens of millions of dollars off the backs of their employees, selling cruise packages that run into tens of thousands of dollars per person, but they are standing back and wiping their hands clean of their crew, who have been robbed collectively of $2 million. Cruise ships have human trafficking and crime problems such as sexual assault is one of the biggest ones. But vacationers at sea are at risk of some serious offenses, most notably sexual assault. According to U.S. government data, sex crimes far outweigh any other major offense on board. In 2016 and 2017, there were 62 reported sexual assault cases out of 92 alleged crimes in total, nearly 70%. NBC News reports in a recent investigation that many of the victims are minors or 18 or below. 15-year-old girl attacked on a Royal Caribbean cruise ship while crew members did nothing. According to reports, the girl was allegedly given alcohol and she became highly intoxicated and incapacitated, and the men then lured the girl into the cabin room where they sexually assaulted and gang raped. One famous case of a cruise line true crime case, Amy Lynn Bradley vanished off a cruise ship in 1998 and is suspected to have been sex trafficked off the cruise ship in the Caribbean. On March 21st, 1998, 23-year-old Amy Lynn Bradley and her family boarded a Royal Caribbean International cruise ship en route to Curacao, which unfolded was only a nightmare straight out of a true crime. Her and her brother were at the nightclub, and later, having briefly woken up between 5:15 a.m. and 5:30 a.m., her father saw that Amy was in the lounge chair. He later described to local papers that he saw his daughter from the hips down, and that the door to the balcony had been closed. But no more than 45 minutes later, his daughter vanished, along with her cigarettes and a lighter. To this very day, Amy Lynn Bradley's whereabouts remain unknown. However, there have been multiple potential sightings of her in the Caribbean in years since, leading to a belief that she was sold into sex trafficking in the Caribbean. Later in 1998, a cab driver said a woman matching Amy's description approached him with an urgent request to use a phone, but this sighting was never verified by the authorities. And in August, a Canadian tourist claiming to see Amy, a woman with identical tattoos that made him certain it was her, walking with two men on a beach, desperate to get his attention. And in 1999, a member of the U.S. Navy reported that a woman in a brothel sex industry claimed to be Amy. November of 2005 saw Amy's parents make an appearance on the Dr. Phil show, bringing them an image that had been emailed to them depicting a distraught and despondent young woman resembling Amy, which suggested she was sold into sex trafficking and sexual slavery in the Caribbean. These photos are found by a member of an organization dedicated to tracking down the victims of sex trafficking. On March 24th, 2010, 12 years after her original disappearance, Amy Lynn Bradley was declared legally dead. With no verified witnesses and no remains found, the truth is still uncertain. According to the data obtained through Freedom of Information from the FBI and used in the Sex at Sea report, one cruise operator with 22 ships had 92 sex-related crimes in 2008, an average of 4 per ship. Crime on cruise ships in general is significantly more common than on land, a charge cruise operators deny. The same FBI data revealed that most perpetrators were male crew members and most victims were female passengers, and the most common location for alleged sexual assault crimes was a passenger's cabin. A Carnival ship called Triumph lost power after an engine room fire, and the 4,200 passengers drifted for days in the Gulf of Mexico with raw sewage seeping through the walls and carpets. And in another true crime case, bad cruise news is never really far away. The Bramble case in 2002 remains in the memory of them as one of the most horrific crimes on a cruise line. Brisbane mother Diane Brimble died in 2002 on board a cruise ship called the Pacific Sky. Brimble was administered fatal levels of a party drug. While an inquest identified 8 people of interest, no manslaughter charges or convictions were able to be secured. They were able to move possessions out of their cabin during the investigation, while Bramble's family waited 4 years to get her fare refunded. Serious issues around the ship's party culture was raised, along with questions over the complex issues of laws at sea, treatment of victims' families, onboard family, availability of drugs and alcohol, onboard security, and the preservation or otherwise of the crime scene. Cruise ships carrying several thousand passengers and crew have been compared to floating cities, in part because of the volume of waste produced and pollution and requiring disposal is greater than of many small cities on land. During a typical 1-week voyage out at sea, a large cruise ship with 3,000 passengers and crew is estimated to generate 210,000 gallons of sewage, 1 million gallons of graywater, wastewater from sinks, showers, and laundry facilities, more than 130 gallons of hazardous waste, 8 tons of solid waste, and 25,000 gallons of oily beige water. If not properly treated and disposed of, it can be a significant source of pathogens, nutrients, and toxic substances with the potential to threaten human health, as well as damage aquatic biodiversity and life under the ocean. Blackwater is sewage wastewater from toilets and medical facilities, which can contain harmful viruses, bacteria, pathogens, diseases, internal parasites, and harmful nutrients. Discharges of untreated or inadequately treated sewage can cause bacterial and viral contamination of fisheries and shellfish beds, producing risks to public health. Nutrients in sewage, such as nitrogen, phosphorus, promote excessive algae growth, which consumes oxygen in the water, which can kill fish, leading to dead zones, killing aquatic life. Cruise ships generate on average 8.4 gallons per day per person of sewage. A large cruise ship, 3,000 passengers and crew, can generate an estimated 15,000 to 30 gallons per day of sewage. Graywater is a wastewater from sinks, showers, galleries, laundry, and cleaning activities aboard a cruise ship. It can contain a variety of pollutant substances, including fecal bacteria, detergents, oil, grease, metals, organics, petroleum, hydrocarbons, nutrients, food waste, and medical and dental waste. Sampling done by the EPA in the state of Alaska has found that untreated graywater from cruise ships can contain pollutants at variable strengths, and it can contain levels of fecal bacteria 1 to 3 times greater is typically found in untreated domestic wastewater. Cruise ships generate on average 67 gallons day per person of graywater, or approximately 200,000 gallons per day for a 3,000 person cruise ship. Graywater is typically the largest source of liquid waste pollution generated by cruise ships. In June 2019, Carnival pleaded guilty to environmental crimes, including illegally dumping graywater into Glacier Bay National Park and other prohibited places and areas, and knowingly allowed plastic pollution, which poses a severe danger and persistent threat to marine life as well as wildlife, in general, to be discharged into the marine environment in the Bahamas. The company was fined $20 million, half as much as it had been fined in 2016 for its previous environmental crimes and cover-ups. Solid waste generated on a cruise ship includes glass, paper, cardboard, aluminum, and steel cans and plastics. It can be either non-hazardous or hazardous in nature. Solid waste that enters the ocean may become marine debris and pollution. It can then pose a threat to marine life and organisms. Humans, coastal communities, and industries that utilize marine waters. However, as much as 75% of solid waste is incinerated on board, and the ash typically is discharged at sea, although some is landed ashore for disposal or recycling. Marine mammals, marine biodiversity such as fish, sea turtles, and birds, can be injured or killed or unalived from entanglement with plastics and other solid waste pollution that may be released or disposed of off cruise ships. On average, each cruise ship passenger generates at least 2 pounds of non-hazardous solid waste per day and disposes of 2 bottles and 2 cans. With large cruise ships carrying several thousand passengers, the amount of waste generated per day can be massive. For a large cruise ship, about 8 tons of solid waste were generated during 1 week cruise. It has been estimated that 24% of solid waste generated by vessels worldwide by weight comes from cruise line ships. Most cruise ship garbage is treated on board, incinerated, pulped, or ground up for discharge overboard when garbage must be offloaded. For example, glass and aluminum cannot be incinerated. Cruise ships can put a strain on port reception facilities, which are rarely adequate to the task of serving large passenger vessels, especially at non-North American ports. Cruise ships produce hazardous waste from a number of onboard activities, including photo processing, dry cleaning, and equipment cleaning. Types of waste include discarded, expired chemicals, medical waste, batteries, fluorescent lights, and spent paints and thinners, among others. These materials can contain a wide range of substances such as hydrocarbons, chlorinated hydrocarbons, heavy metals, paint waste, solvents, mercury vapor light bulbs, various types of batteries, or unused and outdated pharmaceutical equipment. Although the quantities of this hazard material generated on cruise ships are relatively small, the toxicity to sensitive marine organisms can be a significant risk. On a ship, oil often leaks from engines and machinery spaces or from engine maintenance activities and mixes with water in the bilge, the lowest part of the hull of the ship. Oil, gasoline, and byproducts from biological breakdown of petroleum oil-based products can harm fish and other wildlife and poses threats to human health if ingested. Oil, even minute concentrations, can kill fish or have sublethal chronic effects. Beige water also may contain solid waste and pollutions containing high amounts of oxygen-demanding material, oil, and other chemicals, as well as soaps, detergents, and degreasers used to clean the engine room. The chemicals can be highly toxic, causing mortality to marine organisms and life if chemicals are discharged. A typical large cruise ship will generate an average of 8 metric tons of oily beige water for each 24 hours of operation. If the separator, which is normally used to extract the oil, is faulty or is deliberately bypassed, untreated oily beige water could be discharged directly into the ocean, where it can damage the marine life. According to the EPA, beige water is the most common source of oil pollution from cruise ships. A number of cruise lines have been charged with environmental violations related to this issue in recent years. Large tankers and bulk cargo ships use a tremendous amount of ballast water to stabilize the vessel during transport. The water is often taken on in the coastal waters in one region after the ships discharge wastewater or unload cargo. However, ballast water discharge typically contains biological materials including plants, animals, viruses, and bacteria. These materials are often included non-native, nuisance, exotic species that can severely damage aquatic ecosystems. Ballast water discharges are believed to be the leading source of invasive species in U.S. marine waters, thus posing a public health risk and environmental risks, all while significant economic costs to industries such as water and power utilities, commercial and recreational fisheries, agriculture, and tourism. Studies suggest that the economic cost from the introduction of pest mollusks such as zebra mussels and Asian clams and shipworms to U.S. aquatic ecosystems is about $2.2 billion per year. These problems are not limited to cruise line ships, and there is a little cruise industry specific data on the issue. Further study is needed to determine the role that cruise ships play in this problem overall. Air pollution from cruise ships is generated by diesel engines that burn sulfur content fuel, producing sulfur dioxide, nitrogen oxide, and particulate matter, in addition to carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, and hydrocarbons. Diesel exhaust and diesel pollution overall has been classified by the EPA as a human carcinogen. It is, diesel fuel pollution is actually one of the main causes of lung cancer and other cancers. Vessels also emit significant amounts of black carbon, which contribute heavily to the climate change crisis. Cruise ships can also damage pristine beach habitats, and tourism shell out thousands of dollars to visit cruise ships. Anchors sometimes destroy coral reefs. When the ship is landing in March 2017, a cruise ship rammed into Indonesia's most preserved coral reefs, destroying nearly 140,000 square feet of reefs in total. Marine animals who come in contact with these massive structures may suffer as well. A 2004 report in large whale ship strikes found that 12% of incidents of large whale ship strikes from 1975 to 2002 were from cruise ships. They first noticed the body in the Grand Princess loomed towards the dock of Ketchikan, Alaska. These tasked with securing the vessel to shore spotted the limp, lacerated humpback whale pinned atop the cruise ship's bulbous bow. Many of the passengers ashore in the morning of August 9, 2017, were faced with the unfortunate sight of the dead whale. While they were away, the body was towed away to a nearby inlet so the cause of death could be determined. Did the whale die of natural causes before being struck by the Princess cruise ship, or was it just likely a casualty of the increasing cruise ship industry traffic? The humpback whale died of injuries consistent with a ship strike. It was the second of such incident reported in the Alaska port in many years. A necropsy/autopsy found that the whale was nearly severed in two, was an otherwise healthy subadult male whale. Cruise ships contribute heavily to marine noise pollution, as the windows of noise pollution are very high in cruise ship industries. In addition to noise pollution from the ship's machinery, cruise ships produce also more noise thanks to the entertainment activities on board the cruise ship. These noises disturb the marine animals and mammals. Noise emanating from passing ships may disturb animals such as killer whales and dolphins far more than previously thought, with new scientific research showing that animals' communication and ability to find prey could be hampered by the underwater din. In fact, vessel noise reduces the whale's ability to hunt up to 5 hours per day. Ship strikes remain a threat to whales worldwide. Cruise ships travel at 16 miles per hour, faster throughout most of the Alaska region. Engine noise coming from the back of big ships can blocked by the vessel itself, a phenomenon known as bow null effect, rendering whales in the way unaware of the impending danger or threat. Most cruise ships have protocols in place to help reduce the risk of striking whales, but even if alerted, the crew may be unable to change course in time. According to the NGO, Whale and Dolphin Conservation, the best way to avoid collisions is separating whales and ships short of that by slowing ships to below 10 knots.